speech by asking, who here likes to listen to good music? It's good, and good thing I picked this subject. It makes sense. Hey, first of all, has anyone ever heard the musical quote, to feel the beat, possibly in Michael Jackson's Rock With You? Well, you can ask yourself this, do you really feel the beat? Music has become a part of our lives, whether we're in the car, walking around, or just plain watching TV. What has it also become a part of? It has also acted as a trigger for our emotions. I like to describe what emotions are. I like to explain what emotions are, what aspects of music affect emotions, and the difference between music being expressed and music being aroused in listeners. By studying music and psychology, we can understand how music can act as a trigger for our emotions in all listeners. First of all, what are emotions? We feel them all the time. Either we're sad, angry, joyful, afraid, etc. Well, Professor of Aesthetics, or in other words, the philosophy of psychology, Jennifer Robinson, states that emotions are responses to the appraisal of the environment. Appraisals of the environment are things that happen around us, in which we see, hear, feel, smell, and taste. For example, Robinson gives us a good allusion to an appraisal of the environment. Imagine that you were at a meeting at work, and you see your boss walking past you, seeming like he's ignoring you. You could feel various things. You could feel sad, thinking that he doesn't like you, or fear. You feel anxiety, fearing that he's going to fire you, or you could feel angry that he's ignoring you to deliberately spite you. The boss is a kind of an appraisal to the environment, because it is something in which we see, and our emotions are the response to what we see, to the appraisal. Robinson also quotes reputable psychologist Nico Friedja by saying that emotional experiences are perceptions of horrible objects, insupportable people, and oppressive events. So how does all this work in tandem with music? Music is considered an appraisal of the environment because it is something in which we hear, and as stated before, our emotions are responses to the appraisal of the environment. Gordon Bruner, the author of the article Music, Mood, and Marketing, states that there are three main components of music that figure into its effect on emotions. One of which is time-related expressions, one of words for musical terminology, tempo, which is the rate of speed of a musical piece. Bruner quotes psychologist Kate Henfer by stating that fast-paced tempo alludes to something that is happy or pleasant, whereas slow tempi are given an impression of solemn, tranquility, or sentimental descriptions. Staccato and legato music also figure into time-related expressions. Staccato music is disconnected and sudden. Just imagine pulling a bow across a string really rapidly. Whereas legato music is smooth and connected. It uses the same imagery as seeing a bow going across the strings slowly. Bruner also quotes psychologist Lage Wedin by saying that staccato music gives the impression of energy, liveliness, or anxiety, or agitation. And the other extreme, with the music based on legato, gives the impression of tranquility, peaceful, and dreamy characteristics. Another related expression is pitch, which is the highness or lowness of sound. According to a table seen in his article, Music, Mood, and Marketing, he states that rising and falling pitches indicate an increase and decrease in intensity. also states in that table that songs in higher keys are generally happier. And finally, the third component of music that Bruner states is texture, which is the loudness or softness. Another description of texture is called dynamics in musical terminology. For example, forte, pianissimo, etc. The loudness of a piece of music indicates animation, while low expresses tranquility. Crescendo, which is the gradually getting louder, expresses an increase in intensity, whereas diminuendo, which is getting softer, applies to a decrease in the intensity or the force. Professor Karl Kronholz would agree to Bruner's statements, I think, also including that the tone of music also affects what is meant to instill. Sad excerpts have slow tempo, usually minor harmonies, and consistent ranges of pitch and dynamics. Excerpts that are meant to instill fear have dissonant variations of pitch and dynamics, usually at fast tempo and mostly minor. And finally joyful excerpts have relatively major harmonies and constant ranges of pitch and dynamics. Now for the difference between expression of emotions and the arousal of emotions. The difference between the expression of music and the arousal is how listeners perceive what the music is trying to show. For example, sometimes we could be feeling sad or happy, but not have the expression on our face to show that we're either sad or happy, etc. It's also in relation to regards to music. So music is expressive of sadness and possessive by possessing sadness appearance. This also goes into the psychological aspect of marking. For example, usually scherzeros and waltzes are generally joyful in our major keys. However, if you would label one of them or market one of them as being grim, then it'll just let the audience know that the piece is meant to instill fear or sadness, hence the word grimness. It deviates from the norm and lets the listeners know what to expect. Now for the arousal of emotions. Usually it is often possible for listeners to recognize or perceive that a musical passage is expressive of sadness without feeling that sadness for themselves. Here's a couple of things could figure into this. One thing as Jennifer Robinson states, by quoting another philosopher, Stephen Davis, that our interests shape how the world. Shape how we see the world, thereby making resemblance more resilient than others. That's how we know what we want to major in and what we like to watch on TV. That also relates to music, what we like to listen to and what actually comes through with us, through what they express. Therefore, now we have more understanding of psychology and music. Now we can finally understand the meaning of the quote, to feel the beat. Thank you.